Hey everybody, as promised, here is the setup that I told you guys about. That was super fancy. We've got some like paper holders stacked up, a ring light that's like on its side, shining down onto the math book. We've got some paper anchoring that light down and a tape dispenser to make it a little bit heavier. Right here where these pencil boxes are, that's where my camera sits. And then this is, got two desks put together. I told you guys it was super fancy. Um, you know. So anyway, I promised you a little tour of my setup, so there it is. We are going to go ahead and get started as soon as I get everything lined up over here. Hopefully my phone doesn't fall today like it normally does. I feel like it falls quite often. Okay, so I think we're good with the phone up there. Let me sit down and get my pen, and today we are subtracting whole numbers. So we've added whole numbers and now we're going to move on to subtracting. And I don't know, subtracting's not as easy as adding, but we'll get through it. So we're on page 93 in our book. If you're not already there, go ahead and get there. And we'll get started. Lesson 6, subtract whole numbers. If you read with me up here, it says subtraction of whole numbers is similar to addition of whole numbers because you might need to regroup. So that's sort of a key word there, regroup. Let's get into the first example. The Trevino family is moving to a new city. They have driven 957 miles out of the 3,214 miles that they need to drive. How many more miles do they need to drive? How many more? Tells me that I need to subtract. So I want to find 3,214 minus 957. Now, like addition problems, I always start in the ones place, okay? Or the smallest place value. In this instance, it is the ones place. So I'm going to start over there, and I'm going to say that I'm going to regroup a 10 as 10 ones. 10 ones plus 4 ones is 14 ones. 14 ones minus 7 ones is blank one. So that's kind of confusing. Let's come over here and let me show you. Okay, so when I'm in the orange here, or in the ones place, can you see? Yeah. Okay, so when you're in the orange or the ones place, I would say 4 minus 7. Well, 4 is less than 7, so I can't say 4 minus 7. A lot of times, fourth graders make the mistake of saying 7 minus 4. Well, that's not the direction that we go. We have to say 4 minus 7. You always go in the downward direction. And I would say 4 minus 7. Well, I can't do that, so I have to regroup. I'm going to take from the tens place, and I'm going to take one of these tens, and now I'm going to have 0 tens, but now I have 14 ones. So when I took from the tens place, I put it over there. So 4 plus 10 is 14. So now I'm going to say 14 minus 7. I can definitely do that. 14 minus 7 is 7. So that's what goes right here. Okay, now I have to move over one space to the left, and I'm going to subtract 0 minus 5 because we always go in the downward direction. Not 5 minus 0, 0 minus 5. If I have $0, I can't take $5 out of it, right? So I have to regroup. So I'm going to come over here and take a 10 away. So if I take a 10 away from the 2, it becomes a 1, and I add that 10 over here, and it becomes 10. I can do 10 minus 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. So I'm going to come up here and say that I've got 5 tens. Regroup 100 as 10 tens. Okay. Then I'm going to move into my purple column. Okay. And I'm going to say 1 minus 9. Uh-oh, going in the downward position. 1 is less than 9, so I can't do it. So I'm going to have to regroup. I've got to borrow one of the tens from over here. It becomes 2. And this one becomes 11. Now I can say 11 minus 9 is 2. And so I'm going to come over here, regroup it as 11, and it becomes a 2. So now I've got 2 thousands minus nothing, so that is 2. So 2. So 3,214 minus 957 is 2,257. So the Trevino family needs to drive 2,257 more miles, okay? Now, if you got a little bit confused, don't worry. We're going to do some more so that you get the hang of it. Okay, let's turn the page and try again. All right, so let me back my book down here a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right, the minuend. So this is a highlighted number, so it's a vocabulary word, and those vocabulary words sometimes show up on the progress checks, okay? The minuend is the first number in a subtraction sentence from which a second number is to be subtracted. The subtrahend, it's also highlighted, is the number that is subtracted. So for example, in this number right here, the top number, the number that we're subtracting from, is the minuend. The bottom number, or the number that we're taking away, is the subtrahend, okay? Okay, so let's look at example 2. It says, the band has raised $1,345 toward new equipment. If the goal is to raise $4,275, how much money must be raised? Now, the first thing they did was they rounded these to kind of come up with an estimate, because, you know, sometimes we make an estimate to see if what we get as our actual answer is close, okay? So 4,275, they said they wanted to round to the nearest hundred, it looks like. So they said, okay, this 7 tells this 2 to become a 3, so that's almost 4,300. This 4 tells this 3 to stay, so this is almost 1,300. So 4,300 minus 1,300 is 3,000. So our answer, when we figure it out, should be somewhere near 3,000, okay? So let's figure it out and see how we did. The first thing I'm going to do is start in the right-hand column. Always start at the right-hand column of my numbers that I'm subtracting or adding, and then subtract. So 5 minus 5 is 0. 7 minus 4 is 3. So those were super easy. These two numbers were equal, so I know it's 0. This one had the larger number on top, so I know that I could take away from it. And now we get over here to where we're going to have to do a little regrouping, okay? I can't say 2 minus 3. The top number is not larger than the bottom number, so I have to regroup. I have to take away 1 from over here, and turn this into a 3, and I add that 10 over here and make this a 12, okay? So now I say 12 minus 3 is 9, and 3 minus 1 is 2, okay? So they first said subtract the 1s, we did that. 5 minus 5, 0. Subtract the 10s, 7 minus 4, 3, we did that. Subtract the hundreds. They said regroup one of the thousands as 10 hundreds. And so I called it a 10, but it's actually 10 hundreds because it's in the hundreds place, okay? I did call it a 10. When I said that, I kind of was like, oh, I hope I'm going to have to explain that at the end. It's a 10 in the hundreds place, so I kind of think of it as 10 hundreds. So you take 1 from the thousands, you take 10 hundreds from the thousands, and add it on over here, okay? So that becomes 9 hundreds. Then you subtract the thousands, and that was pretty easily done. 3 minus 1 is 2. So the band still needs to raise $2,930. Now let's look at that amount. Okay, let's look at this amount. Look at my estimate, 3,000. If I rounded 2,930 to the nearest thousand, what would it be? That's right, it'd be 3,000. So my answer is pretty reasonable. I could have made a mistake somewhere along the way, but that's pretty close, so it's probably right, okay? Now I want to check for reasonableness. And that says you can use addition to check your subtraction. Now, they drew all these arrows, but I kind of find that a little bit tough to deal with. Let me show you a trick. Let me think about how I'm going to write this. Okay, so if I write 4, 2, 7, 5, that's my minuend. Under it, I'm going to write my subtrahend, 1, 3, 4, 5, okay? Under that, I'm gonna write my answer, 2, 9, 3, 0, okay? I'm gonna put a box around my subtrahend and my answer. And I'm gonna add my subtrahend with my answer, and I should get my minuend. 5 plus 0, 5. 4 plus 3, 7. 3 plus 9, 12. Here's the 2 from the 12, and I'm going to carry that 1 over here. 2 plus 1 plus 1, 4. So that checks out, okay? So now I know that my answer is correct, okay? And we'll do another example of that here in just a second. Let me move my book up so we can see. Okay, so let's go down here. It says subtract. Use addition or estimation to check. So it says you could do this or you could do this. We might do both. You never can tell what we might get into. All right, so let's look at this. I'm going to subtract first. 2 minus 5. Can I do 2 minus 5? I can't because 2 is less than 5. So I have to regroup. I'm going to take 1 away from my tens place and turn it into 5 tens. And now I've got 12 ones. So now I have 12 ones minus 5 ones, and that's going to give me 7 ones, okay? Then I have 5 minus 4. That gives me 1. Then I have 9 minus 8, which is also 1. And then I have 2 minus nothing, which is 2. Okay, so I kind of hate how small they make the problems in here because when you're trying to regroup and cross things out and put all that in, it's really easy to get confused. You know, if you need to get a piece, I can't even talk. If you need to get a piece of notebook paper, if I had one here, I would show you, but well, I got a notebook here. Let me see if it's got lines on it. Yes. So let me show you a little trick here. If those are too small and you kind of start getting confused about what you're doing, what you can do is take a notebook just like this, okay? See how it's lined? Turn it sideways to where your lines are like going vertically, okay? And I'm gonna rewrite this problem and let me show you why I'm keeping my lines vertical. I can keep my place values lined up if I write vertically. If I wrote 2,962, okay? I wrote each place value in its own column and then minus 845. Now I was sure to keep my ones lined up, my tens lined up, my hundreds lined up, and my thousands lined up, okay? Now I've got more room to write, okay? So say I did this problem again. See how it's all smunched up down here at the bottom? This way is gonna make it a lot easier. I can say I can't do 2 minus 5. I'm gonna regroup, so I'm gonna take one of my tens and put it in my ones. So now I've got 10 minus 5 is 5. Keep your ones lined up. 5 minus 4 is 1. Keep your tens lined up. 9 minus 8 is 1. 2 minus nothing is 2. Okay? So now I have this problem figured out very neatly. Okay? I really recommend doing it this way. Now to check, I'm going to, like I said before, take my subtrahend, 845, and I'm going to add it to my answer, 2115, and I should get my minuend. So 5 plus 5 is 10. I'm going to put the 0 down here and carry the 1. 1 plus 4 plus 1 is 6. 8 plus 1 is 9, and 2 plus nothing is that. So I got 296. Uh-oh. Dun, da, da, da. Miss Smiley messed up. Guess what? That's why we check. I caught myself. Huh. So guess what I'm going to have to do? Guess what I have to do? I have to go back and redo this problem because I caught a mistake. I caught myself from putting in the wrong answer. Now, did I get the wrong answer down here? No. But when I rewrote the problem, do you see what I did? When I regrouped, okay, I said that this was just 10. I took the 10 away from here and brought it over here, but I didn't add that 2 on. This is why we check our work, okay? This is why we check our work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check using my answer that I got on my book because I'm pretty sure that one's right. So I'm gonna check using that answer. So I'm going to very simply just place the 7 here. And I know that 5 plus 7 is 12. And then I carry the 1, and that would be the same all the way through. So 2962 is what I should have gotten. Okay, 2962 is what I've gotten. This is why we always check our work. Miss Milam would have gotten that one wrong. Okay, a lot of times that's what happens with 4th graders and even adults as myself is when we rewrite the problem on a different piece of paper, we do something weird and just forget, you know. I thought maybe I wrote the problem down wrong. I didn't write the problem down wrong, but when I did it, I accidentally forgot to add that on. Everybody makes mistakes. I seem to be making a lot lately. Sorry. So let's try that next one on number 2, but I'm going to do it on my paper so that I can keep everything lined up. And this time we're going to try to do it right without making a mistake. All right, so I have 4,785. Remember, everybody gets their own column. Minus 2,000 293. So I've got my ones lined up, my tens, my hundreds, my thousands, okay? Keep everybody in line. 5 is greater than 3, so I can subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. 8 is smaller than 9 though, so I have to regroup. I have to take 1 away from my 7 and make it a 6, and add that 10 on over here and make it 18, not 10. That's the mistake I made over here. All right, so I made it 18. So now I have 18 minus 9. 18 minus 9 is 9. 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So now I'm going to check and be sure that I get the correct answer. So I'm going to take my subtrahend and add it to my answer. So 2293 plus 2492. And this time I'm going to add. 3 plus 2 is 5. 9 plus 9 is 18. 1 plus 2 plus 4 is 7. 2 plus 2 is 4. So now I'm going to see if this number matches my menu end. 4785. That is exactly what I have here. So my answer must be right. Okay, so then I'm going to come transfer that answer over to my book, 2492. Okay, so I really recommend using notebook paper and columns to figure out these problems, because if you look at the next page over here, on this page, these problems are lengthy, okay, and small. So if you use notebook paper turned sideways, you will definitely be able to keep everything straight much, much better, okay? So I really would recommend that you use notebook paper. Okay, so what you're gonna do now is you're gonna do these independent practice problems. You're gonna do the front of the page and then the back of the page. When you finish that, you're gonna do the self-check for this lesson, which is the self-check for lesson 6. And then if you don't do well your first time, you can review this video or do some review videos online that you can find for subtraction, and then go back and do your second try at your self-check. If you don't do well on the first try, please reteach, relearn, and try again, okay? And then I'll be back tomorrow with lesson 7. Thanks, guys. Bye.